At a difficult time, Chiwoko Hospital was born, a time during which Uganda was recovering from a civil war of 1980 to 1986 that saw violation of human rights and the collapse of essential services such as the healthcare system. After the conflict, Chiwoko Hospital emerged as a leader in the rehabilitation and development of Nakaseke, Nakasongola, and Ruwero communities.
Started by partnering with a local church called Saint John, and this church was one of the few buildings that was still existing and still in a fair state of repair at that time. So they started by doing outpatient clinics, and these ones were under a tree outside the church. And those who needed more private attention were then attended to in the vestry of the church.
Chiwoko's work has grown steadily over the past 3 decades, from a clinic under a mango tree to the large healthcare institute it is today, now providing access to essential health services that rural communities deserve but are rarely afforded.
As a baseline, we've actually seen the number of cesarean sections has actually increased. In 2000, we were doing between 30 and 40 cesarean sections a month. But now we are currently doing 80 to 100 cesarean sections a month, which means that the numbers have more than doubled on a monthly basis.
The hospital has embarked on several other integrated programs in order to address the growing need for the cesarean sections. These have been majorly preventive in nature in order to prevent such conditions that would require mothers to undergo cesarean sections. One of them has been the Chiwoko Hospital Community-Based Healthcare Program. It's run by a community qualified midwife together with community health extension workers and village health committee members who are majorly volunteers. These have been key because they do sensitization, mobilization, and health education in communities. For example, encouraging young girls to stay in schools, delay pregnancies, and prevent teenage pregnancies, which end up requiring cesarean section due to obstructed labor.
The Obstetrics and Gynecology Clinic, for example, provides life-saving interventions such as cervical cancer screening program and has encouraged more women to seek out this essential form of care.
In this clinic, high-risk pregnant mothers are identified and they are managed appropriately, including booking them for elective cesarean sections before getting complications in pregnancy.
Nina abaana 7 bonna mbazaalidde Chiwoko naye ono omuto asembayo nagenda ew'omukyalo okunkeberako nga mbulidinga omusaayi bwe natuukayo n'enzaala bwe mmala okuzaala omwana w'emabega nga omusaayi mungi nnyo bakubira bba wange najja n'akubira ambyulensi y'Ekiwoko nejja n'ennona kati natuuka ekiseera nga sitegeera ngenda okudda engulu nga nina omwana wange nga mulamu nga nange ndi mulamu.
Whereas people have a choice on where they can deliver and they can choose whether they want to deliver at home, whether they want to go to a birth attendant, whether they want to come to a health facility, it has been shown to be safer to deliver in a health facility. And it's one of the strategies which is being encouraged by the Ministry of Health. However, we still have a large number or a large percentage of women who still end up delivering at home. And a delivery can get complications or problems at any time. Now the challenge is if that happens when someone is outside of the known health system, how does the referral happen from that person, for that person to get from either home or from a birth attendant to a health facility? And this will often mean that they're either going to be transported by a border or motorbike, because that is the most common form of transport which we have in this area.
Nafunanga abakyala nga balina ebizibu bingi. Ebizibu ebyo nga nze sijja kusobola kumalako nabyo. Nembasindika ekiwoko. Kati ng'okuvaamu omusaayi omungi ng'omukyala tanatuusa kuzaala, n'okuba nga omukyala olubuto lwekiise, n'okuba nga olaba nti olubuto lwonna ludde eno ku mutima waggulu, ng'oyo sijja kumusobola nga nsobola okumusindika ekiwoko.
After decades of expanding and improving the maternal and newborn services, Chiwoko is now seen as a leader in maternal and newborn health, not only in Uganda, but across East Africa region. And the Chiwoko NICU is recognized as a center of excellence by the Uganda Ministry of Health.
Sometimes we have high-risk pregnancies, and in a unit which has a functional and one of the well-recognized neonatal intensive care units in the country, it is also a preferred place for referral for mothers who already know that their baby is at a high risk of not doing well, or is already not doing well. So a lot of units are referring in such patients to the hospital.
Chiwoko Hospital has a maternal perinatal death review committee. This committee is comprised of the clinical team members, but also the community representatives, majorly the community leaders like women representatives. These have played a big role in sensitization, health education, but also mobilizing the community.
Chiwoko Hospital yakola bulungi okutuuza ku lukiiko luno olunoonyereza abakyala abafiira musanya olw'ensonga nti ffe tuli bantu abaviira ddala wansi mu bantu, tufuna ebirowoozo by'abantu okuva mu byalo kuba obabeeramu nojja ate bwe tudda ku lukiiko nabo ne batuwa ebirowoozo byabwe ne tubikwasaganya ne tufuna ansa entuufu esobola okumalawo ensonga eyo.
Despite its effort to improve maternal and child health outcomes, Chiwoko Hospital's main operating theatre is inadequate. Yet, the overall number of surgeries performed per year has increased. With the above needs, Chiwoko Hospital's two-roomed main operating space is not adequate, and therefore the facility seeks funds to construct 2 new operating rooms that will act as maternity theatres, as well as refurbish the existing theatre space.
The hospital was not built according to a master plan, but it was built in response to the needs which were reflected on the ground. So we found that 20 years ago, a theatre block, a second theatre was actually built. This was in 2003. And this had 2 rooms, and these rooms were basically a major theatre, which is where I'm standing at the moment. And we can see some of the equipment and facilities. So this one was built 20 years ago. And we have also a minor theatre. Now, at that time, these appeared to be adequate for the numbers of patients who were being operated, but also because we had few people who were operating. However, over the intervening 20 years, we have seen a lot of changes in this place. The number of people who are operating has increased. We now have several specialists who are here. There are 2 surgeons, there are 2 gynecologists. Those ones usually operate at different times, but we also have an orthopedic surgeon who comes and visits. And in addition to these groups, we have the more junior doctors who are also participating in the surgical work. So this means that sometimes you will have 2 theatres operating simultaneously. And because of this simultaneous need to operate the theatres, sometimes there is no space for emergencies, and more specifically, obstetric emergencies. These emergencies will occur at any time, day or night, And when an emergency happens, it means that the baby cannot wait and must be delivered as soon as possible in order to improve the outcome.
Chiwako Hospital is an outstanding private non-profit hospital in the central region of rural Uganda that has made extraordinary contributions towards alleviating human suffering over its 30 years history. Surviving a catchment area of approximately 1 million people across the Nakaseke, Luwero, and Nakasongola districts, the 204-bed hospital provides high-quality health care to more than 70,000 patients every year. The majority of these patients are from impoverished, vulnerable communities, so the affordable care that Chiwako Hospital provides has significantly improved short and long-term health outcomes in the region. Chiwako Hospital is run by a team of 397 dedicated health workers and supported by a large network of volunteers. The hospital is comprised of an outpatient department, 10 specialist clinics, 5 wards, a maternity ward, a neonatal intensive care unit, NICU, general male and female wards, and a pediatric ward, and an extensive community-based health care CBHC program. Chiwako's maternity ward, which has 65 beds and admitted 3,436 women in 2020, has maintained a 99.8 maternal survival rate in recent years. The incredible team of midwives and nurses delivered 2,429 babies in 2020, 39% of whom were delivered by cesarean section. Between 2010 to 2020, admissions to the maternity ward rose by 50%, caring for close to 36,000 women in this time. In order to further improve maternal and child health outcomes, Chiwako Hospital is in search of 427,303,690 Ugandan shillings, approximately 90,244 pounds, to expand its main operating theatre as well as refurbish the existing one. We treat, Jesus heals.